Eye on South Asia is brought to you by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo, together we'll go far.
Hello and welcome to Eye on South Asia. I'm Bhavna Vanan.
And I'm Sanjeev Pandya.
Every week we'll discuss the latest news, events, and happenings with South Asians in North America. Sanjeev, our biggest story for this week that we have is about Iran.
That's right.
And how the U.S. is actually slapping on additional sanctions on Iran above what they already have, which is penalizing any nation that has these ties, whether
any
it's
business
trade,
ties or any kind of ties
whether
with
it's
them.
trade, banking, or the nuclear, obviously that trade. And President Barack Obama has new tough sanctions against Iran, obviously for them not disclosing their nuclear program to the U.S. And this is specifically targeting the Iranian energy and petrochemical sectors, and the banking sectors as well. So any country that has financial transactions with the banks of Iran, and these countries would be China has been impacted by this, the Bank of Kunlun in China, and the Iraq Bank, Elaf Islamic Bank, has had these dealings, and they have been impacted by these as well.
True. So these sanctions are really, very difficult, and I think it's going to make any kind of business transactions with Iran, within Iran or out of Iran, very, very difficult until and unless they disclose nuclear operation details.
Yeah, and one just has to wonder, Iran says we really don't have much of a plan, so you don't need to worry to the U.S., right? At the same time, there's such strict sanctions being placed on them, and their revenue from other countries is going down so much. So one would think that Iran would just disclose whatever it is that
I think they're being stubborn. I mean, they have these nuclear weapons and they have this program in effect. They're just being stubborn, and they just don't want to be answerable to U.S. Rather, they're like, why would we have to answer the U.S. to what kind of nuclear program we have? So U.S. is making it more difficult and tougher by imposing these sanctions.
Right, because they have a stronger hold of NATO, and when it comes to NATO and taking action, it could really be disastrous for this country. And at the same time, looking at it from Iran's perspective, if they do disclose what they have in their nuclear plans, then it could mean, the U.S. and the Western powers sort of getting this leeway and being able to kind of, push their buttons and being able to control the situation in any case.
Well, I think the way U.S. is, slowly isolating Iran from any, trade business or in an international market, I think slowly Iran will have to decide what they want to do with their nuclear program.
Right, and as I said, it's getting real life examples where it's getting tougher and tougher. There's actually a shipping company that is called the Irano-Hind Shipping Company, and it's one of the oldest companies, and it has been shut down now. And this predates to 1979, the Islamic Revolution, and after several weeks where their vessels cannot operate under these sanctions, the head of the company just said, we can't deal with this. So
we'll see, but these are tough sanctions.
Exactly. So on another note, when it comes to India and their relationship with the situation, India has about 9% of their energy demand coming from Iran, and it is one of their cheapest suppliers of oil and energy. So it's not just so easy for India to say, okay, let's drop the source and move on to Saudi Arabia or something.
Well, no, it's not that easy for India to say that, but at the same time, India also wants Iran to talk about, their nuclear program and what their plans are. See, it's okay to have a nuclear program if it has a valid reason, but by not revealing all the details and information to the international world, or rather, countries like USA, then it's becoming very difficult for US or India to deal with them.
Right, and especially because India is trying to play fair and diplomatic and trying to be on the good side of both countries, the Western powers and their old trade partner, Iran. It's very difficult for them to put pressure on Iran as well as, appease the US.
We'll see what happens.
Yes, exactly. All right, so speaking of India trying to keep good ties with its neighbors, India is lifting a ban on investment from Pakistan.
Which is a good news. Certainly a good news, yep.
Yeah, and this is in, yet another effort to improve ties with their neighbors, whether it's, trade, and that is going to impact investment and, just grow the two countries.
Pakistan was the only country that India had, faced such kind of restrictions. Now they are actually lifting that ban, just like they had done with Bangladesh. But what it means is that whatever foreign investment coming from Pakistan, whether it's from individuals or corporations, would have to be approved by defense and home ministries. Only then decision will be taken whether to allow them or not. But nonetheless, I think it's a very positive move, by India, and I think allowing Pakistan to, basically close that gap and,
Yes.
work towards the future, and then invite them to India.
Exactly, and Pakistan already has some good developments in this region. They have granted India's the most favored nation status, and this has been pending for the last 16 years. So that has come to a positive development by the end of the year, and also they've moved the positive list to a negative list, so they're actually allowing more imports to come into the country, opening up their borders. But however, in the case of the investments, they have said that there's a non-permitted sector when it comes to defense, space, and atomic energy. So there's still certain areas that they're not
going to be allowed.
Investment
exactly.
going on.
But regardless of that, ban has been lifted, and now I think more and more investment opportunities will be coming into it. But it's not going to be so much. Not too many individuals or companies going to be lined up, because India and Pakistan, they have not done any business together in the last 65 years.
Yes.
Okay. So
At the same time, we have a trade relationship. It's worth about $1.4 billion.
Right.
So it's a very important relationship to look after and make sure that they keep nurturing this process that they have.
True.
So let's hope that they, come up with more good solutions to improve this. All right. So on that note, in India, there were actually some events, a series of events that happened in Pune. And this was the bomb blast or the serial blast?
That's right. This happened a couple of days ago in Pune, and although police and everybody, they are looking into it, our Department of Home Ministers, they're also looking into it, because there are not enough proofs to validate that why and who actually were involved in this kind of bombing. The local person in the Pune named Dayanand Patil, right, who is actually a tailor, and he's the only one got injured, and he's the only one detained for this blast, for the investigation, because he said he picked up a bag of something, and eventually that bursted out, and he is the only one got injured. So right now, the police, they have registered a case against unknown persons under the section 307, 427, 120B. Those sections, they have registered a case against unknown persons, because they don't know who actually was behind this blast. But there haven't been any more details for us to share.
And that was actually a single event, and there were several blasts going on simultaneously.
That's right. Yep.
And there has been some increased security in Mumbai as a result of this as well.
Well, obviously, wherever, because in Pune, if you remember back in February 2010, about 2.5 years ago, there was a blast at German bakery, and it was a whole case involving German bakery, and they had, registered that it was a terrorist attack. So there is some kind of investigation going on, and because of that, as a result of this Pune blast, security has been tight in Bombay, New Delhi, and
Right.
other big cities.
Yeah, especially when they don't know the cause of it, suppose it is a terrorist attack, or something like that, similar to what happened in Mumbai.
Sure.
That could be something to look out for, definitely.
And that's going to be interesting who's going to look out for it, because in relation to this story, as we can continue further, there is a new home minister now, Sushil Kumar Shinde, who was the energy minister, and he's now new home minister, and P. Chidambaram has got the finance minister portfolio. So Chidambaram used to be home minister, but now he's a finance minister. 3.5 years ago, he used to be the finance minister, but because Pranab Mukherjee now is the president of India,
Yes.
and Manmohan Singh, the prime minister, held the finance minister portfolio for about a month, from June 26 till now. But now Chidambaram is the new finance minister, and Sushil Kumar Shinde is the new home minister. So I guess home minister and his department will look into this Pune blast. And at the same time, we also reveal the information that there are some changes in the ministry, which we just talked about it.
Absolutely. And it seems like just a shifting around of positions
Well,
here.
speaking of shifting around quickly, I know we should definitely point it out that there was a worst blackout in the history of India, and not only history of India, but also in the history of world.
Yeah.
And it was a second day, 2 days in a row, but second day's blackout had hit more than like 65 million people, and half of the country was in blackout for more than 9 to 10 hours. And it was a worst blackout. And at the time, Sushil Kumar Shinde was the energy minister. And next day, as
They've
we can
been
say,
switched.
he got promoted. He
Yeah.
got promoted. He became a home minister.
Right.
So
Well, hopefully they can take care of the situation now that they have the power to do so.
That's right.
So, all right, we're going to continue with some more stories, and we'll be right back on Eye on South Asia.
Eye on South Asia is brought to you by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo, together we'll go far.